Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Mono Black Helm Leyline combo. We are going to try to get a Leyline effect, either Leyline of the Void or Douthie Voidwalker, and then activate Helm of Obedience, decking our opponent and killing them on their next draw step. We also have the out of potentially just beating them down with Douthie, Bowmasters, and Shieldred of the Apocalypse. Very sweet card, very powerful effect. We have Profane Tutor, which can help tutor through our deck, and we have this new edition, Lake of the Dead. Rather than playing the One Ring, which is boring, nobody wants to see more One Ring leagues. Let's play Lake of the Dead. This is an awesome card. Unfortunately, reserve list. This is not a budget deck, unfortunately, but you can basically have 6 mana on turn 3, and you can have it uncounterably. It's like an uncounterable Dark Ritual. You just play at your swamps, and then when you're ready to party, you play the Lake of the Dead, and you tap the swamp. Then Lake of the Dead comes out, and you tap the other swamp. You tap Lake of the Dead. You sacrifice that, and bam, 6 mana, which is enough to cast a Helm of Obedience and pay for days and activate it. Very sweet. In the sideboard, we can pivot to a more creature-heavy juke. We've got Baragoyf. We've got Opposition Agent. We have Torok Dreadcanter, one of my favorite cards. And I'm trying out Meathook Massacre just as a cool thing that we can do since we have tons of black mana. We're not playing Ancient Tomb or anything. Like, literally every mana we're going to be producing is black. We're up against a likely Sneak and Show opponent. And you know what's really good against Sneak and Show? Freaking discard effects. So I think this is kind of janky, but my thinking is we can shred their hand. We can shred their hand with Duress and get a Bowmasters online. I don't think this is a keep. We've got like 8 Duress effects. This is even worse, sadly. I think we mulligan this too. Our opponent begins the game with 7 cards. Okay. I mean, this is the combo. It's not bad. I think I start with, well, let's keep. So I'm definitely keeping this. I'm not going any deeper. The question is, what do I want to put back? I think I have to put back Douthie. I mean, I have the combo, so I can put back Tutor. I think I put back the Bowmasters because it's just not core to what we're trying to do here. And then I do want to hold this just in case. Like, unless they're on like turn 1 combo, I'm not going to get punished for just holding this for a turn cycle. You know, it might be better to just go ahead and play this out. They're probably going to force if they have a force. They probably think, like, why are they playing Swamp in their Oops All Spells deck? Is probably what they're thinking. Okay, I'm going to just play this. And we're very far from Helm, but I'm just going to trust that we'll eventually... We're playing 20 lands and Moxen. So we could put a Unmask under that. I think they probably force this, unfortunately, if they have a force. And unfortunately, like, this was just a pretty bad sequence of draws. Like, maybe I should have just kept the first hand if they're on combo. I wasn't sure they were on combo, and we just didn't do anything, unfortunately. Yeah, they are going to force here. Okay, so they pitch a Ponder, which lends credence to the idea that they're on blue-based combo. The fact that they cared about that. Maybe they're on a fair deck, like blue-like tempo. Scalding Tarn. Frequently in Sneak and Show, which is the most common variant of Show and Tell. Okay, so we drew another one. We have, I think we just have to hold. I can't use the Unmask. It's unfortunate, like, that I mulled as deep as I did. But like, if we draw another black card, we can Unmask and maybe do something good there. It's worth noting that if we get Douthie on the table and they Show and Tell, we put Helm on and we just deck them. So this is definitely a blue-red deck. And again, I highly suspect they're playing Sneak Attack and Show and Tell. We'll see if they have a Petal. I may not show them my combo because they may think I'm just on mono black and I just had a really rough mulligan series. That's unfortunate. I think we do need to go ahead and do this at this point just because, like, there's a very real chance that their AB combo is going to work here. At the very least, this will give us a little bit of information. Oh, they're going to freaking misdirect it to us? So I'm going to discard the Helm. I get to choose. I will discard the Helm because it does nothing without the Douthie. And then, yeah, they're low in life, but I think we're going to be dead here soon. Okay, and they're just doing an end-step brainstorm to hasten the arrival of Emrakul or whatever it is that's going to shepherd us into the promised land. I do think we're favored with the sheer volume of discard because, like, targeted discard is extremely strong against their deck. We just need to not mulligan twice. And, okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Doesn't affect me really at all. So, like, one of our many lands that's not a Lake of the Dead would be very nice here. Okay. So again, I don't hold out hope, but we do have something on the board. It's not nothing. That's, 4 swings. If they somehow magically fail to find mana, which it looks like they may be, they're going to attack. That's fine. Which does reduce our life for the purpose of like an eventual strike by Atraxa or Emrakul. But if they swing with Emrakul, we're just dead. I'm going to go ahead and do this just in case they put something like... I can't actually think of anything that would be worth sacrificing this for. So sadly, I think we do have to take the show and tell here. I mean, stock up at least is an extra turn that they'll have to look. Yeah, that was very good. They're choking on lands, and hopefully they'll continue to choke, and we can get a few hits in. Because that stock up will almost certainly find something to win the game with, but that is an extra turn that they have to spend mana casting stock up. Pedal. Okay, so this is going to stock up right now. Okay. I can't counter it. Doesn't really matter. I could cast the stock up on my own, but I think it's probably better to just keep attacking them. So they need to find mana and an enabler. They have Omniscience, which can allow them to cast stock up a bunch of times. Well, they only have one stock up in their hand, but that'll likely lead to other cantrips. So Bowmaster would potentially be good here. All right, so options. We could just activate this and stock up here. I think most likely we're just dead if we need like a Thoughtseize or something like that. Stock up could get a Thoughtseize and take the other stock up from their hand or whatever payoff they just grabbed. We might even be able to get 2 discard spells. I'm going to try it. So let's just confirm that, yeah, that's an exile. Okay, and now let's cast it. Do they have a force? They have a force. Okay, well that sucks. But they are forcing pitching. Well, they have a redundant Omniscience, so that's what they'll pitch here. Okay, so we lost our clock. I am going to play the land out, even though it like tips our hand, because I do need to be able to cast the spells. I think that was worth trying because I think we're just dead, unfortunately. So they still have Omni and a stock up in hand. They're just looking for land. And obviously, that's, result-oriented thinking might dictate that, like, okay, well, you should have just not done that. But I think that there was a very real chance that they just had like land, show and tell, Omni, stock up, that sequence. That was a high likelihood. All right, I'm going to play this out and we'll get one more turn. So now a Shieldred could come out. Not that it would necessarily matter, but it would beat Hexing Squelcher in combat. Yeah, this is a super awkward game. Here's Omni and to stock up, and I don't think they're going to whiff. Oh, sneak attack, okay. But as far as we know, they don't have their hand is stock up Omni, so they don't have an immediate way to win. But like stock up will most likely yield some sort of threat, and then they can just put that in. They will need one more mana, so we may get another turn. Like the miraculous top deck would be like some sort of like we need the AB right now. I'm gonna hold this. Yeah, there's no sequence of draws where not holding this because at least this is hidden information. We would have won based on the sequence of things that happened. I think if we not sacrificed the Dauthi. Here's stock up. And all they need is like pedal Atraxa or something, or they can just pass the turn because we're not doing anything. Stock up is a very good card. My advice is always force stock up if you can, if you're playing a Force Will deck. And you saw that I would have discarded it, but it was more important to discard the... there's the Helm. So there is a unlikely line, but it is a line. We can go ahead and play Helm. And then we might be able to find Atraxa. They force it. Okay. They pitched Omniscience. So Omniscience doesn't really matter here. So their hand is unknown, but we can presume that there's probably a threat there. And we can see more of their deck at least. But we are dead. We're technically at 1, but like there's nothing we can draw that will win. So they have another show and tell, Squelcher. Okay, cool. And double Emrakul. So they can actually put the Emrakul in and just kill us. Okay, so my read that they were on blue-black sneak attack was blue-red sneak attack was correct. It's just that I didn't trust my instincts and keep the AB discard heavy. Like if I kept the original hand instead of mulling to 5, we would have done so much damage to them. So Turok Dread Cantor can rip apart their hand. But none of our main deck cards are bad because I'm basically like pre-boarded to beat combo. Shieldred is meh. It's not really like it's slow and it doesn't like the main way we want to win is disabling them and just beating them to death with Orcish Bowmasters or Dauthi. Like if I have 4 mana, I don't really want to be casting this. I think it's probably better to put some flutes in. We could just put all the flutes in because flute is pretty good. It requires them to pay 6 mana to show and tell, and it also completely shuts off sneak attack, and you can do this with the sneak attack on the stack. But it's unclear what we would take out here. Again, Bowmasters helps us in the game. Douthie helps us in the game. I could trim well, I'm on the play. I don't want to trim on the... I think I'll just keep 2 flutes and try to be aggressive. But I'm going to keep my Unmasked in just because, like, even though it's costly to play it, it's very powerful. This is a great hand. I'm going to keep this. And we have tons of mana. They mulled a 6. So we can't Thoughtseize the top of their deck, but we can, wreck them pretty well. Like, Durus, we'll see how much time we have, and then next turn we might be able to Bowmaster. They're mulling to 5. They're not likely to have forces now. So I will lead with the Thoughtseize, I guess. This way I can take, like, if they almost certainly don't have the Hexing Squelcher in their hand. Okay, so I'll just take the Brainstorm here. That way they can't Brainstorm. I could have taken the Emrakul, so they wouldn't have something to put in if they managed to find one of their 8 cards. Yeah, I mean, that was my window to take the Emrakul, but it feels kind of bad to take it when they're able to, like, Brainstorm. So they're going to fetch Surveil here. They have Ancient Tomb, so if they find it, I'm dead. I think this is Profane Tutor. Yeah, I think this is just Profane Tutor. And then they have it. They can always counter our Profane Tutor if they want to. They're going to fetch Surveil, and then if they just have Show and Tell, the game's over. Because they'll get Emrakul out. And they will get to attack. No, they won't get to attack. But it has to be Show and Tell. Oh, they kept the top. That means they almost certainly found Show and Tell there. That sucks for us. I have Lake of the Dead and ridiculous mana next turn, but it doesn't matter now. Oh, stock up? Okay. It's another turn. Next turn, I have 3 mana, because I can just tap Lake of the Dead without sacking and use that mana. So I can Bowmasters and Durus next turn. All right, Swamp. Doesn't really matter. Technically, we get more mana. We wait a turn cycle. If I do the Lake of the Dead thing right now, I have 6 mana, so I can Bowmaster and Helm. That's not... I think I'm going to go ahead and Durus first. Just see what they have over there. So they have Force to protect. But that might involve pitching their 1 blue card. Yeah, they are going to Force here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Play Lake of the Dead, play Helm of Obedience. Then I can tutor, get a creature, and then even if they get Emrakul out, I'm okay. Because they have Emrakul in hand. We know that. The card they pitched to Force was Atraxa. So they are counting on winning with Emrakul, which they need to pass the turn, and then we get a turn. Unless they have Omni, which they could have. Okay, so we're going to do Lake of the Dead. This is my first time to ever play Lake of the Dead. Sacrifice this. Let's go black. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, next turn I get... So next turn I play the Swamp and I tap it, and then I tap that and I have 5 mana to activate Helm. So I am going to play the Helm now. This is my first time ever using this card. Pretty exciting. I guess I could just use it now with the spare mana. Just in case I find... Well, what if I found... Yeah, I mean, if I found an Emrakul, then that would be pretty good because I'd get first strike with Emrakul. If I found a Atraxa, it'd probably be pretty good. I think I just want to wait, though. Wait a second. Did they didn't ponder recently, right? No, that was just stock up. So their top is unknown. I'm just going to pass here because I don't want to pop this and then have then lose because of it. They may be able to like Atraxa into a win con. I'll just put Orcish Bowmaster out here as my spell. Fetching. This could be like if they have a Spirit Guide or a Petal or something. Gosh, please don't have the red mana. Don't have the red mana. Please don't have the red mana. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think we're going to win here because their hand is Emrakul, something that is not going to... So this happens. Now we go get the... I'll just get a Douthie. Now I draw for turn. I'll play this. I'll tap this for black. Tap this. I'll sacrifice this. I do need to do this so I have the mana to activate this. We'll play this out. And then I will pay 1 mana. I'll activate this. Target them. They would need some sort of instant speed interaction that I can't think of. Stop this. So their deck is exiled. We get to see their entire sideboard strategy. Okay. They have no cards in their deck. And they scoop. So let's take a look at their strategy real quick. Pretty cool they let me do that. All right. Redirect Lightning. Terrifying card. They've got a lot of Redirect Lightnings. Brotherhood's End to blow up artifacts. Destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Okay, that doesn't do a lot to me. But it can kill my creatures, so it's a nice modal spell. Yeah, I don't really see anything surprising here, except for the Redirect Lightning. That's really spicy and cool. All right. So, again, I want to shout out to Duress and Thoughtseize there. They were like the game changers. Like, we probably would have lost without them. So I haven't seen them. They are fetching, but I just don't think that that's where we want to be on the play. I think what we probably want to do is just take out a swamp and bring in a Disruptor Flute. Just one more. Is that correct, though? 19 lands plus... I mean, that's still like 27 mana sources and we get a draw. I think that's fine. And keep in mind that we just need one of these in, and when they show and tell, they're going to put the Helm in for us if we don't have the mana to cast it. But we do need a Leyline effect. I mean, this hand has it all, really. If we take it slow, like, this doesn't technically stop them. Disruptor Flute is good, but like if they show and tell, it's too late. And if they, Disruptor Flute, I don't think is quite good enough. I really would like to get at least half the combo in place. We can do so well if okay, there we go. That's the combo. Yeah, this is the card that's going to go back is Lake of the Dead. Is it? I mean, it could just be Douthie. I only need one of these. I doubt they're going to clear one. I think it's better to put back a Leyline and just be able to play out a Douthie. Lake of the Dead is awkward here because we don't have a second swamp. And if we don't draw another swamp, it just does nothing. So my thinking is, turn 1, we Leyline. We play swamp. We exile the other Leyline. We Profane Tutor. Turn 2, we play out a Douthie. Then we have redundant. And now we're just waiting to draw mana. But Lake of the Dead gives us that mana. I didn't see them bring in any bounce effects. So I think we're okay to just have one Leyline. Really, it's just a question of, I guess this is probably more flexible because now what we can do, we put a Leyline in and then we have Douthie if we need him, but we could probably put him under Chrome Mox. Yeah, I'll just do that. I want to hold the Lake of the Dead just because that is our path to actually casting Helm after we get it off of Profane Tutor. We just need a single swamp, which is high likelihood. We have 16 or 15 more in our deck. Petal. I think in retrospect, I should not have pulled the swamp and I shouldn't have brought in the what would be a good draw here? I mean, that's not bad. So now we have the option of just putting for Profane Tutor under Mox and going ahead and playing out Douthie. However, if they just show and tell here, we just put in Helm and we kill them. I kind of like that, just chilling for a turn. Yeah. Gosh. We can't kill them if they... So let's say hypothetically we Profane Tutor here. I can put Douthie under this Mox and then Profane Tutor. And then the problem is I can't immediately kill them, but there's a good chance whatever they put in is not going to kill me instantly. Like, even if they get like Show and Tell Emrakul, they would have to Emrakul from hand, and that would involve Show and Tell into Omniscience into Emrakul, which is less likely. Okay, I think I've convinced myself to try this. So I'm going to Profane Tutor, and that way I can set up a win for 2 turns from now if they don't Show and Tell. Otherwise, I'm just kind of sitting here. And they may even interact with this, which would be fantastic. They're thinking about it. This is a great game. Like, I'm having a blast. I don't know what's on our opponent's hand, but this more combo-licious version of the deck is definitely fun. Okay, we're in. I'll put a Douthie under here. I'm going to go ahead and suspend this. Now we will pass. Again, we're dead to Omni lines. But if it's not Omni, we're okay. Petal. This could be Sneak Attack, but they would need more mana. Show and Tell. Okay. Do you have Omni? Emrakul, we win! Good game. Wow. Holy cow. Unless they have, like, instant speed bounce or something. Yeah, wow. That was crazy. I guess, like, I mean, like, this deck just seems better and better every time I play it against the meta. It's kind of insane. They would need, like, Force of Vigor or something like that to win here. Crazy game. Yeah, like, this is just very well suited to the meta. Show and Tell, it's good against. It's going to go against. Oops. With all the targeted discard, it's really good against really any AB combo deck. And then with the aggro angle, like anything that even slightly uses a graveyard, like the Hogak, I feel like this is a really good meta call right now. All right, round 2. We're up against a fair gamer, historically. I don't want this hand. We're on the play. I don't think this is good enough. Our opponent's probably going to infer we're Oopsil spells. I mean, this is not bad. This is not bad at all. I'll keep this. Cards that go back are going to be Dark Ritual and Unmask. Yeah, I'll do that. And then even if I have to slow roll the tech, it's okay. Like, it's important to note, Profane Tutor can't be dazed when you're casting it, which is kind of cool because you're always going to... You'll almost never get a Profane Tutor dazed because you're casting it during your upkeep, which is so cool. Okay, they have a fair hand. If we take the Bowmasters, they don't have much of an offensive, but I think we actually take the Ponder here just to... Because they might be able to look for like a Brazen Borrower. Yeah, and the rest of their hand doesn't do a lot. We're not going to be drawing cards. I don't care about Bowmaster really. Like, I might even be able to kill it with one of my own. That's one of the beauties of this deck is like it has 0 card draw. It's like totally... Bowmasters is raise the alarm, so to speak. There's another Leyline. Let's go ahead and cast this, or suspend it rather. I think they're like an Uro strategy, which obviously Uro is not going to work against Leyline of the Void. They could have Force of Vigor in their sideboard, but I think the scariest thing they could do here is just bounce this and then slow me down a lot. Yeah, Uro to the yard. Love it. Okay. Missy's out. So, again, we're on like a 9-turn clock. All right. We're getting there. They could absolutely draw like a Daze or something like that. So, I'm hoping to find like a Dark Ritual or a Lake of the Dead. But they would need to draw a blue card and a Force to be able to hit our hand. And one of the great things is like, let's say hypothetically they're playing Thoughtseize and they want to get us. Like, Profane Tutor completely plays around Thoughtseize. You get it out early, and then it's not like Beseech the Mirror, which shout out to the Epic Storm. Like, I just realized earlier today before I started recording this that they had recorded the league with Helm where they were playing like a lot of artifacts, like Raise the Alarm, or not Raise the Alarm, Karn the Great Creator, or not Karn the Great Creator, but like Vault of Whispers and stuff like that. Okay, so I have an option of just going ahead and getting a Bowmaster here and just Bowmastering them. But I can't imagine that's correct. I am a little bit worried about Thoughtseize. So they don't get to see what I'm getting. Because it's like a true Demonic Tutor type effect. And I can't imagine it's correct to get anything other than Helm. And then we draw. Okay. So here is the deal. We're playing into Daze. Or we're giving them extra turns to draw Force. Or Thoughtseize. Or like any number of things. I think I'm going to go ahead and try it. Now they have to have Brazen Borrow if this resolves. Okay, it's in. That's great. Even if they bounce this back, like I'm not under any pressure. I could actually like, if I draw like a swamp or something, I could like replay this. They could bounce this and then, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to likely have anything main deck that kills this. All right, we got it. Oh man, I can't believe this. I love this deck. Okay. So against their deck, Opposition Agent is quite tasty here. Meathook Massacre, I don't know. Baragoyf, probably pretty good. Like, we could kind of pivot off of the Duress for sure. We don't want Duress at all. That card sucks there. I mean, Thoughtseize can clear some permission. They're probably taking out all their Fatal Pushes, I would imagine. Or some of them anyway. But they can safely assume we have Douthie. Because before Douthie, like I checked the entire history. I am a scholar of Helm. Before Douthie was printed, there was 0 Helm. It was just too brittle to rely on like a 4 of plus a 4 of. You needed like a little bit more redundancy. Meathook, I mean, they have a lot of big toughness creatures. I don't think that's where we want to be. Oh, Unmask comes out. And then we just need to make one cut. I don't know that we need Shieldred. I'll cut one of those. She dies to Fatal Push just like anything else. I'm actually not sure that we should even play 2 of them. I just couldn't think of what else to put in the deck. One card I looked at was Phyrexian Obliterator. That card was pretty sweet, but I was just like, well, pay 4 mana and get it pushed. But Shieldred is the same problem. The good thing about Shieldred is, like, you know, usually you're going to get at least one beneficial trigger before, you know. I think she works a lot better in One Ring type decks where you're like tap One Ring, gain a bunch of life. I'm not sure that she's right for this deck. She's definitely the big question mark here. Okay, this is a great hand. So we have a quick Oppo, like a turn ahead of schedule. And we got our native Leyline. We could get blown out here if they have like a Wasteland, but like they may not have taken their Wastelands out. Like if I saw how my opponent played, like 4 basic swamps, I put something in place of the Wasteland. Wasteland, you treat it like a spell when you're a tempo deck. Because they're Thoughtseizing us. This is fine. Oppo is almost certainly not going to do anything here, but they'll almost certainly take one. Because now that they know about it, it's a lot less impactful. We'll pass. Lake of the Dead is, like I said, it's basically like an uncounterable ritual, dark ritual effect is how I look at it. I'm not going to play with this Mox, obviously. If they want to Thoughtseize me again, that's totally fine. I'll eventually either use this Mox for something or I won't. It's actually kind of a pain right now because the Mox, like they can 2 for 2 me if they have or really 3 for 2 me if I use the Mox. So I'm actually disincentivized from using the Mox. Okay, they've got a Wasteland there. So they didn't take the Wastelands out. I think I just chill and yeah, I'm just going to chill. I don't want to cast Baragorf. And besides, Baragorf is not even good right now. Like we barely have anything. The real question is, let's say hypothetically I rip Helm. Do I go ahead and go for it knowing that they could absolutely have a force and that I'd be like deleting 2 of my lands and then they waste the remaining land and I'd be on basically 0 lands for the rest of the game? I don't think I would go for it. I think this is a good time to test with Swamp. They probably have a daze. They're fetching around it. That's smart. But I could have drawn a Dark Ritual. So I think they were... Well, I mean, I guess I could have done it at any time anyway. All right, that's an unfortunate draw. I think I just chill and keep the Spectre of an Oppo over my head. They can always turn on Revolt with Wasteland, but they'd have to sack targeting their own Wasteland. Okay, I think this is time to test for Daze or Fatal Push. Okay, we're in. And Shield of the 8th. They may have Bowmaster. All right. I don't think I attack here. I actually think what I'm going to do here is just play out a Baragorf. It's small, but it's like, mana efficient. And then next turn I can start playing Lake of the Deads if I want to. I'm not going to attack because I don't want to lose this ability. This does something, and like I feel pretty confident they have like a Bowmaster or something over there. Well, guess who was right? My Bowmaster radar. Okay, that's fine. Why not ping me? Am I missing? Oh, they have 2 Bowmasters. Well, that's smart. I didn't even think about the possibility of 2 Bowmasters. Well, that is unfortunate. Yeah, and they can attack with that army now. But if they attack with just like one of those things, I'll block it. But they do have a clock now. They can probably trust that like my Bowmaster that I'm. Yeah, they're just gonna attack with that. That's fine. I'm not gonna make that trade. I've got plenty of life. Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of types on my side of the table. Bowmaster's not very good. This is like one of the worst Bowmasters decks ever. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this. Sack it. Now I've got 2 types in my yard. Let's go ahead and play Bowmaster number 2, the Revenge, which I did. Hopefully that doesn't matter. They force it. Okay. Force it down to 1, or 2 cards rather. It's fine. I'll just chill. Now if they want to waste this, they absolutely can. Totally fine with them wasting here. It is technically a 2 land for 1, but I've got plenty of mana. They're going to waste sooner or later anyway. And I think you should always untap. You shouldn't do that. Wait and see what you draw. If you draw like a 4-drop or something, you could use that mana. Okay, they're coming across again. I'm going to hope that like I'm locking them off something. Most likely it's just like they might have fetches in their hand. They may just play them out, but if they play them out, then they give me information. Okay, Tomio. It's a good card. And if I just draw Helm, they already used their force. I'll play this out. Now, our clock is still slower than theirs. I'll just hold the Lake of the Dead for now. I could attack and trade. I don't think it's correct. I really would like to draw Bowmasters if I'm going to be fighting them fair, because I could ping one of their Bowmasters and lock them off Tomio draws. I think swinging with Douthie 3 times is going to take too long. Like, it will technically beat their clock, but not by much. Also, if I start attacking with Oppo, that gives them the option to attack me back with both of their Bowmasters. So I think I just need to keep Oppo back. Let's go and try this. All right. We'll attack. And now we're winning the race handily. But they could draw like, Toxic Deluge or something and just wipe the entire board other than Tomio. If they flip Tomio, I can actually pressure Tomio meaningfully. They could have their own Douthie. There's never going to be anything beneficial under Douthie, by the way, if you're wondering, because they can always just choose to exile the Leyline rather than Douthie. Cracking a Clue. So it is cool that this deck kind of has this fair angle that it can pursue. It's not like a total combo deck. It's disruptive as heck, and it has both a combo finish and a mediocre fair plan. It's not a good fair plan. I'll just take this damage. I'm not concerned. They're 2 swings from death. And because they cracked their clue the last turn, they can't even flip Tamio. If they flip Tamio, I will turn my attention to killing her. I'm not going to ignore a Tamio. This could be Merc. No, Berry. Okay, a Berry of their own. That's fine. He's small. He will not gain life at a rate that will save them. I'm going to play this out. Just attack like this. Yeah, because the beneficial trigger doesn't even help them. So basically, he buys them, I think, like an extra turn or two. Yeah, I think so. I think he just buys them 1 extra turn. Fatal Push is still really good if they can find it. I like to think that Oppo is doing something to disrupt them, other than just hanging back and being blocker. So they create a clue. I don't believe they get the card back, right? They may actually get the card back. They decide not to use it. Okay, I think they actually should have used it because they would have gotten the card back. I can go ahead and do this. They probably have a force effect, but I'll just come across with these. I could technically just trade with this if they attack, but they're dead next turn anyway if they don't find a Fatal Push. I actually think I'm going to play with the Chrome Mox just because I don't want them to somehow discard it from my hand. That seems like a weird play, doesn't it? But if it goes to the graveyard, then Baragorf can grow. Yeah, and I'm glad I saw that because that would be like a pretty big beating if suddenly they were able to tread water because they were able to discard that. They may be able to blow it up with like a Witherbloom command and gain some life. That would be a cool card if they have it. Witherbloom command, it could target that. But it could have just drained me anyway. They have a Fatal Push here. Oh, they're cracking a clue. All right. So next turn they can flip Tamio. Tamio, yeah, they're still dead if they flip Tamio. They need to actually remove one of these. And I've got 2 turns until I get to just use my thing. That's fine. They draw a card. They used half their mana for that. Did they find a Fatal Push? Wasteland. Another Baragorf would be not terrible. Crack a clue. Okay, Tamio's flipped. They could have created a dude there, but they didn't. All right, so they're going to gain some life here when they attack, but then I'm just going to kill them anyway. And they're tapped out of everything but green. So yeah, I believe this game is over. Add to that the fact that I'm about to helm them, but I shouldn't helm them until after I've attacked. They mill Force and Brainstorm. Okay. Always yield. They could absolutely have like Force of Vigor or something. I'm trying to think of things. Wait, do I still have to wait 1 more turn? Oh, I still have to wait another turn. So I'll have to chump this turn cycle if they somehow survive this. All right, well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's attack first. And then we just have the alternate win con if this doesn't work. But I don't want to... they take 4 unblockably. Nice. We're done. Yeah, 2-0. All right, we're back. I've already started the round. Unfortunately, we mulled the 5. I just forgot to start recording. We mulled the 5. We're up against this Karnforge deck. We were on the draw. Their hand is Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. Oh, they did draw the freaking Karn. Okay. We have Profane Tutor on the stack, but it's 2 turns away. Unfortunately, we can't activate. So I'm not sure what they're going to get here. If we draw a Swamp, we can get Shieldred out, and then they'll just go get the Ensnaring Bridge probably before Shieldred can attack, unfortunately. Yeah, they've got access to 4 mana here exactly. Okay, well, I'm going to let this go. I think I'm probably going to concede pretty soon. Our mulligans were really, really awkward. We did Thoughtseize them, and we took the Grim Monolith, but they top-decked the Karn. And we'll see what they're going to get here. They might just... next turn, do they have Lattice Lock? I don't think they have Lattice Lock yet. But then we awkwardly ripped the Leyline and the second Lake. So I just don't think this is the game. But we can see a little bit more about the deck. But this seems like the kind of vanilla Karn deck. Yeah, they're going to start blowing up our land. We'll see what we draw. I mean, that's the best thing we could draw. So I can just do this. I'm not going to wait around. We'll just play the Shieldred. And again, they're just going to start blowing up our stuff. They may be able to leyline us depending on what they drew. We do 2 to them, but like they can't wait forever if they leave this in play. But I think they're likely to find a K command to get rid of it. Because even if they put the Ensnaring Bridge out, we're still going to be able to attack them. All Or we're still going to be able to hit them every turn with this. And if they go get Ensnaring Breach, they can't actually put it out this turn. So I can potentially attack Karn. What they could do is they could play Tezzeret and maybe like stand up some sort of artifact as a blocker to protect Karn. We have almost perfect information about their hand too. I was considering putting Phyrexian Obliterator in the deck in place of Shieldred, just because like we have so much black mana. Like every single mana our deck produces is black, so we can play Obliterator, which is a 5/5 trample. Whenever an opponent does damage to it, they sacrifice that many permanents. It's like it's like a really powered up version of kind of Ward, but obviously it's bad against Blau, and it does die to Fatal Push and K Command. Just like the other card I was thinking about putting in is Demigod of Revenge, because it's haste and it's flying. So you could potentially just, Lake of the Dead into, like we could have Demigod of Revenge there, which would be way better than Shieldred, because this would be dead. And they take, they take 5 every turn. And then if they counter it for some reason, or if you draw a second one, then you've got 2 demigods. It's really, really cool. But there are going to be a lot of situations where we have 4 mana and not 5. But Lake of the Dead kind of guarantees that you're going to have like 5 or even 6 if you have it. Opponents tank it pretty hard. The other thing I was thinking about, because this is the second day. Like yesterday, I put the deck together, and I am missing ill-gotten gains. From the first league, if you recall, if you watched it, I ill-gotten gains people at least twice, and mine twisted their entire hand away. Now, you need to actually have Leyline of the Void out to be able to do that. I think the issue that they're thinking about is the fact that they are kind of choked on mana. 3 mana. They're going to play Tez. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to play a Liquid Metal Coating and probably just stand it up as an artifact. Or they're going to get something else to stand up as a chumper so they can block with Karn for another turn cycle. Candelabra. Okay, that does give them 1 extra mana. Basically, they pay 1, and then, no, they don't have the mana to activate. Well, they have a land in hand. That gets them closer to... Oh, Power Plant. Okay, that's another 2 mana. So Power Plant and mine are 2 mana each. And now that triggers that. I am not worried about Tezzeret. I'm worried about Karn. But I think they can just activate with Karn and then have a chump blocker. But they still don't have Metalcraft, so Urza's Workshop only produces 1 colorless. So they could untap their mine and their Power Plant. Okay, and that's what they're doing. Now they have 4 mana. They could also just K Command and fix their next few draws and just create some spawns to chump. Like, yeah, here's Liquid Metal Coating. So they can Liquid Metal Coat like our... Yeah, that's fine. And then they can blow it up, which does suck. I mean, it's a 2-for-1, but I'm going to be able to attack Karn. And I will attack Karn. And then what they'll probably try to do is just win through Urza Saga constructs next turn. They can potentially make multiple constructs here. Because it's not sure that I'm going to be able to play anything else for the rest of the game. So I can use my Profane Tutor that I suspended right before I remembered to start recording. Sorry about that. I do think in this situation, it's just grab a swamp. Is our best bet. And then we might get 1 more burst of mana if we find yet another swamp. Okay, well, that's pretty good. We gain some life. So we're going to attack Karn, and then we'll play a swamp and we'll pass. And if they find another Karn, yeah, I think this probably goes through. So Karn's down. I'll play a swamp. Liquid Metal Coating is a minor annoyance now. So they are needling. I guess that was from hand. They're probably going to name Wasteland here so they can get their Urza Saga on. But I don't actually play Wasteland. They could name Helm, but they haven't seen any reason to expect that I'm playing Helm. They may have seen my announcement. Yeah, they named Wasteland. Okay. So now this has 4 value. They're going to go use the ability again. They have arbitrarily large amounts of mana. Could they get like a Walking Ballista here? Oh, Manifold Key. But that doesn't really matter. That gives them like a lot of mana. Like they have an arbitrarily large amount of mana. They can make a whole lot of constructs next turn. So the hand is Urza's Workshop, Tezzeret. I don't think I bother attacking Tezzeret, frankly. I'm going to play this out, and then next turn I get the big burst of mana. Let's see, whenever an artifact enters, I think I just have to hit them. Let's think about this, though. So they make a construct, then they make another. They may be able to make like 3 constructs with the key and the candelabra. They'll be huge. They have this Metalcraft. Unfortunately, it's extremely unlikely I'm going to kill them through combat damage. That does beg the question, what am I even doing here? Why haven't I conceded? I think I do want to hit them. Yeah, I'm going to hit them. And then they'll have like access to skateboard, and they can skateboard me. They're 12. Like this, they're going to drop to 10 now. I mean, this does shut off. The main problem, like this shuts off the One Ring. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. This is not, they don't have protection from this. This is a passive ability. Okay, that doesn't really matter here. They still have the ability to make a bunch of constructs. They may just make them in the end step. No, they're going to make them now. It's pretty big, 6/6. That triggers this. Now they can minus and go get yet another thing. They could minus and go get the skateboard. But what they should do is just make 2 more constructs, I think. Like certainly they have the mana if they play their cards right. I like the expression if they play their cards right, because it's literally what they need to do here. It's a common expression in English if you're not a native English speaker. Like if you play your cards right, you can get into upper management, son. But it's literally like the perfect thing to describe playing Magic the Gathering at a high level. And when I say high level, I mean like not necessarily like kitchen table, casual EDH, but like where you're like in try hard mode. Like I don't think anybody picks up a deck like this and says, I'm going to have a whole lot of fun. Maybe they do. I mean, I'm the kind of person who picks up a control deck and says, I'm going to have a lot of fun stopping my opponent from having fun. And then there's the combo gamers who are like, I'm going to have a lot of fun before my opponent can have fun. Wow, look at that. 20 freaking mana. And they still have a candelabra activation. Like, it has to be exactly 1 or less. So they could have gotten just, what's his name, and pinged us to death. So this is what I meant. Like, they've made 3 giant constructs here. So I'm dead next turn, I believe. I will gain some life. Yeah, they can just make like a bunch more constructs next turn. I don't know if they have a way to gain life. Is this a K command? If you're K commanding, like, I could have conceded, We don't have to do this. Another candelabra, you got to be kidding me. And I'm pronouncing it with like the long A's. I have absolutely no idea whether it's pronounced candelabra or candelabra is what we always called it, but I presume it's like an Italian word or something, so it would be like a natural O. How is this not legendary? I'll tell you why this isn't legendary. This came out in the set before Legends. They've got 4, 10. I mean, I'm just like kind of like amused at this point with the sheer volume of mana they have. 32 mana. What are you doing with all that mana? Oh, okay. Am I missing something? Is there something else? Oh, yeah, they can make yet another. All right. So, message clear. I'm going to need a win through like Leyline Helm. And I don't think that's possible. I'm trying to think of what else. Like, there are lots of sideboard cards that I'm thinking about putting in, like Karn Silex, for example. I think that'll be pretty good in here, considering we don't fetch. All right, so we can concede. Sorry for wasting everybody's time there. Like, that was a totally hopeless game from pretty early on. So, Opposition Agent does shut down the search. I think it's probably better than Shieldred here, but like they don't have any interaction for Shieldred. Shieldred was not bad. Disruptor Flute seems like a pretty slam dunk card. Probably better than Shieldred's Edict. Probably better than Unmask. Again, I'm not convinced that our deck is fast enough to warrant inclusion of Unmask. I'm still experimenting with this deck. Like, if you can't tell, like this is far. Like, basically, I trophied with this list. Nobody's trophied with this type of deck in like a year or 2, I don't think. There have been people that have like played it at like small local tournaments and stuff. So I just want to be clear that like this is not like a solved deck by any means, and that every single person's coming to it with a slightly different build. Like a lot of Urza Saga type stuff, a lot of Besiege the Mirror type stuff. Barragwave just isn't going to be big enough. I think Oppo is a much better card here. And then Bowmasters is very relevant. Douthy's part of the combo. I think Oppo is definitely a slam dunk here. Maybe we don't need... Like, I'm not convinced we actually need that many Disruptor Flutes on our sideboard. I don't want to take out a Lake of the Dead and harm the consistency. My friend Nolan plays 2 Lake of the Dead. I actually only own 1 of these, and they're like $100 card, unfortunately. So if I'm actually going to play 3, then I would need to get another one. And it did hurt drawing the second one, but I don't know. I'm still not sure that this is a 3 of. Let's take one out. We still have tons of mana. No, you know what? I want to take out a freaking Chrome Box against the Karn deck. I'll do that instead of like it. Yeah, I feel kind of bad taking out Shieldred because she was pretty effective there, and she's good with Ring. Ooh. I mean, this is the combo. It's slow, though. And then what I'll do is I'll probably just Disruptor Flute named Karn and hope that they don't have anything too explosive. But what I probably need to do is actually Swamp, Profane Tutor, then Lake of the Dead, tap Lake of the Dead, put out Douthie and Disruptor Flute. I think that's probably what I need to do. This is a very slow hand, but their deck is very slow and dirtily. Like that was like I think turn 6 or turn 7 that they won on. Yeah, that was their turn 5. So like that's slow by legacy terms. Okay, they mulled to 6. Too bad I don't have any hand disruption. I am really happy that I am not playing him and then I'm playing Duras, just because there are a lot of situations where I have literally no turn 1 plays. So that's the tower. That means they may have like 1 ring next turn. I'm going to get my Douthie out. Their deck has a lot of big cards in it, so if they find 1 ring, I can just stop them from drawing with 1 ring by disrupting it. It's kind of janky. But I'll have Lake of the Dead, so I'll have the mana to Profane Tutor. And, okay, this is fine. Ooh. I think we just win. That's freaking nutty. We just win. Hell yeah. Do you have K Command? You don't have the mana to K Command me. That was a sick rip. Holy cow. Sick rip. Do you have Helm? Or Disruptor Flute would have saved them there. You could dismember this. Got it. Yeah, Dismember was their out. I think they probably do actually play Dismember. On the draw, yeah, I'm even less in love with Mox. That was lucky. That was so lucky. All right, I'm going to just run it back. And Disruptor Flute, the main reason, like, I'm not sure it's a 4 of is, like, we have so many things crowding the 2-drop. Like, that was, like, a terrible hand that just happened to work out. And here we go. This is the freaking combo. Well, I have to keep this. And then we just beat him down until we get the Lake of the Dead. I mean, Lake is just so powerful because it's uncounterable. Dark Ritual. Profane Tutor's not terrible, but, like, I guess we can Profane for Lake. I think it's probably actually better than playing out Douthie just because it increases our rate of win. By it, you know, we're not guaranteed to draw enough mana here. Okay, they have 3 mana. Well, they have Candelabra, so I think they technically have 5 mana. If they find Karn, it's a real pain in the butt. Okay, now they've got tons of mana. Karn shuts off Helm, which is why, like, I'm particularly annoyed, particularly perturbed, since I like to do little alliterations. 5 mana total. Of course. Well, we're gonna have to take this dude out. I don't think I Profane. I think I have to Douthie. Because we're going to get Karn locked. But like, there's nothing they can do to stop Douthie from connecting with Karn. They'll have to start plussing Karn. They're probably going to go after Liquid Metal Coating again. They chose Lattice. Wow. Our days are numbered. So this has to be Douthie. I think the reason is Bowmasters, well, immediate. Like, there are a lot of ways they can block. They can never block a Douthie. They have to remove it. So they have to get lucky and have one of their K commands in hand, which they may. Or they have to take an extra step of going and getting the bridge, which they may be able to cast if they have a land drop here. But if they go down to 1 mana, I can Bowmaster, and then they have to find a second Karn to lock us. And it's not that big of a deal because I have a different type of win. I just need to get Karn off the table. That's 4 mana. Okay, they may actually have enough mana to Lattice lock me and do something else. Yeah, that's fine. I can still play out land and progress toward my endgame. Oh, they can blow up my lands that way. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so I'll have to hit them twice with Douthie before they find something. So Karn drops to 1 loyalty here. There are lots of things they could draw. They could just Rekarn here, and that would be an ordeal. Okay, they have a lot of mana, so they're going to pay a lot of mana for something big. Yeah, good game. Wait. So, is this black in addition to being colorless? Artifact? I think it's colorless, so they can't actually exile anything. So I'll kill their Karn. They're still going to be able to do lots of stuff over here. They'll probably find another Karn. I can Disruptor Flute this. Urza Saga, so they're going to have tons of constructs soon. Karn can blow up a land on his way out. 4 mana. What a freaking gauntlet that I'm having to go through here. Do you just have the K command? Just start with that. You don't have to waste my time with all these shenanigans. Maybe they drew it off that. All right, good game. All right, trophy's dead. We're not going to trophy twice in a row. Not that I expected to. All right. We're up against Sneak and Show with a dedicated, or like a dedicated Sneak and Show pilot over there. This is a turn 1 swamp, and then if they try to cast a cantrip, we can Dark Ritual Bowmaster them. I think that the other option is we could just put the Dark Ritual under Chrome Mox, and then we have Bowmaster mana up. That might spook them. That's probably better considering we do want to have, like, I don't think getting shielded out fast is, I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, because they do draw cards, but Bowmaster will do that too. Yeah, I think this is an easy keep just because of the mana. Because there's so much between these two, I do think rather than Dark Ritualing one out, I do want to put the Dark Ritual under the Chrome Mox. And then, worst case scenario, I can end step the Bowmaster. Get the beats going. Like, I think the way we're going to beat this one, since we didn't get a Leyline hand, and we could get lucky and draw like a Douthie, that would be great. But I'm going to count on us not doing that, and I'm just going to try to enforce the awkward, imperfect brainstorm. Okay, we're in, and they didn't brainstorm. That's great for us. So now cantrips are locked in their hand until they remove it, which, if they're on Sneak and Show, they don't have removal. Thoughtseize is phenomenal. Holy cow, what a freaking rip. Let's go and do that first. They can't hide. If they do want to hide with a brainstorm, they're going to trigger our Bowmaster a whole lot. The double stock up, double Atraxa. This is just easy. We take the stock up. Yeah, we take the stock up here. If they want to force and lose on a life and a card, I guess they do have redundant cards, but I just don't want them to be able to stock up twice. Best draw is just Douthie, because then, like in the first round, they show and tell and we put in the Helm and killed them. We could deck Douthie and still have 1 mana up to do that. They dropped to 16. They kept. So decent chance that they found a show and tell. Even if they show and tell, we could like put in the Shieldred, for example. Come on, Douthie, please. All right, well, I mean, this is Shieldred. They'll force it. I feel pretty confident about that. They'll just pitch one of the Atraxas. I guess the question is, do I want to have a Helm in play that does nothing? Well, I mean, Helm could, in theory, like dig and find like some insane creature next turn. Or I just want to get Shielded in, which will just get forced. I think I'm going to try to bait the... because if they go for Atraxa, like Shielded may be able to pressure Atraxa. It does have Death Touch. It helps them gain life. So I think I'm going to bait with this Helm. And they may just let it go. But they may force, because they do have an easy force. Okay, great. That's fine. It's out of the way. And leave a comment with a timestamp if you disagree with that line, because that would have been Shielded. Well, I left them with the force. The card they pitched was just one of their 2 Atraxas. So their hand is Stock Up Island, Atraxa, 1 unknown. Next turn we have Shielded. But we did kind of just like ruin the potential upside of us like casting a Leyline, which probably would not have been countered, and then putting this in from hand. And we did tip our hand into what we're doing over here. That's fine. They're at 12. Pedal. Okay. I don't think we have a lot of time left. I think now is where we bait with Shielded. And then we can put the... Well, we're not baiting with Shielded. We're actually casting. Okay. Yeah, now, and then we hit them. The next turn, like, even if they Atraxa, they're not going to likely be able to cast anything else. But they could just... okay, so they lose some life here. They're at 8. That's tons of mana. Okay, and here is Sneak Attack, and then they're going to put in Atraxa, get a bunch of draws. So we didn't get to use the Helm, unfortunately. All right, so they find 2 more... they find another Atraxa, which they can do again, like immediately, or they can do it next turn. So they are going to gain 7, but then we're going to attack them for a lot. They could Sneak Attack an Atraxa in during combat and block. So they kept Flooded Strand, Lotus Petal, Show and Tell, Atraxa, and Omniscience. Okay, Lotus Petal's out. They did keep a Brainstorm, which would be lethal if they cast it. But they're going to attack here and gain 7. They're just checking to make sure that Shielded doesn't have any sneaky abilities. So they do have a Show and Tell in hand. So I think we just keep this in hand, and then if they Show and Tell us, they Show and Tell, we can put it in, and then we have 4 mana to activate it and maybe hit like an Emrakul or an Atraxa of our own. I think they just punted. Why not attack? That doesn't make any sense. This is going to die now. Yeah, they just punted. I can't think of any practical reason why you wouldn't want to attack and gain a bunch of life there. Now they're dead. No, they're not dead because they can put it in. Gain life. I'm going to go ahead and play out Douthie. I think like, sadly, I just pass here because they put in Atraxa. I die. And I want to make it so they can't brainstorm or do anything like that. I think they're going to cast Show and Tell here. See, at the beginning of the next end step. So they can do it during this turn if they want to, and then untap and have lots of mana. If they, at some point, cast Show and Tell, then they lose. Yeah, since they definitely have an Atraxa in hand, I think it's a mistake to attack them here. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to chill and continue to like hate their, play patterns. Okay, sneak attack. Is this Emrakul? Okay, Atraxa. I mean, it could easily just find an Emrakul. It doesn't. They whiff on Emrakul. They could Show and Tell. I think they should Show and Tell for Omni, probably, but they have so much mana that maybe they don't need to. They can attack here. They're dead on the crackback. They gain 7. They go to 13. I think they're dead. That is fine. Okay, and the second they do anything here, all right, so Helm exiles their deck. They brainstorm in response. Sure, you can die in response. All right, we got him. Yeah, that was like kind of touch and go, but like I think this matchup is like ridiculous. I think this is like a 70-30 matchup or something, is my read. It feels extremely strong. They're not searching library. I don't think Oppo is like, this is definitely a matchup where Shieldred is just insane because she applies pressure and she's just like a bulked up Bowmaster basically is kind of how I think of her. I think we keep the deck exactly the same. I mean, Disruptor Flute could name Show and Tell though. That's the only thing I'm thinking about moving in. Unmask is potentially good against them, but I want to experiment with not having it in there because it just feels wrong. Like this Unmask is probably going to be 2 ill-gotten gains. But I understand that it like might actually be correct to, whoa. So I'll keep, and then I double Thoughtseize hand is really strong against them. So they could have Veil here, but I doubt they're playing a third color. So what we can do is we can actually double Thoughtseize them here because I don't need this Profane Tutor. I'm going to Thoughtseize once and see what's in their hand, and then I'm going to probably just do it a second time. If they have Veil, it'll be a blowout. Okay, so they have Sneak Attack, which costs a lot of mana that they don't have. They don't have any acceleration. They could draw like an Ancient Tomb, but that's still like a turn away. My instinct here is to probably take Ponder. It's worth noting that like if I get Douthie out and I Thoughtseize the Emrakul, I can just cast the Emrakul, and I don't think they're going to be able to win from there. But I already have the win on the table, so that feels like a greedy line to take. I think what I do here is I just start stripping the cantrips. And that, again, I totally understand if you take issue with that, but they're not going to have a perfect brainstorm for like 2 turns because this Thundering Falls comes in tapped. And then I'll go ahead and do this. And then we're 1 mana shy of being able to helm them. I mean, I could just take the... okay, they are fetching now. I think they're going to cast a Brainstorm to try to hide something, which is fine. I mean, I was actually going to take like a Brainstorm probably. So now we'll see what they have on top. They can throw one of them away. They can draw one of the cards. Show and Tell is the card. They could, in theory, Show and Tell next turn if they have like an Ancient Tomb on top. They're not going to have both the Show and Tell and the card to do with it though. I actually think like... Yeah, if we just play the Douthie next turn and they Show and Tell, we win again. I'm going to take Ponder. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ponder, and I might die because of it, but my thinking is next turn, I just Douthie, and then they Show and Tell, and then I put Helm in. And I think they're going to try to go faster rather than slower. They're going to get greedy, and they're going to Show and Tell again. That's my read. They kept... So they didn't have anything they wanted to put away. They had a great hand, I guess. Okay, so we'll just do this. Douthie. Brainstorming in response. I mean, if they force this is actually really bad for us because I didn't take the Show and Tell. Okay, we're in. And they might have hand disruption or like a bounce effect, but Pyroclasm, very good card. All right, now I'm going to die. I didn't realize they had that sideboard card. I didn't see it in either of the Thoughtseizes. So now we're going to need to rip something special here. Like, it's actually not that bad. Like gives us both Helm and Bowmasters. But the question is, like, do we want to do that? Here's what I think we do. I think we do play out Lake, and then we have total 6 mana up. And it's possible that they do something greedy, but they're almost certainly just going to Show and Tell Emrakul here, and then we have like 1 turn to find an answer. Yeah, I'm just going to pass, and I don't they have the pedal, so they can definitely do it. Frankly, like, that Pyroclasm just completely caught me out of left field because I thought we had a win. Okay, interesting. They're choosing not to use the pedal here and just to pass. Well, I'm going to do this at least. My opponent's playing very weird. Like, why wouldn't you attack with Atraxa? Maybe it was a misclick or something, but I just can't, like, in my mind, justify the things they're doing over there. That's not a great draw. You know what? I think I'm going to put the Helm in and I'm going to just try. Is that crazy? I'm going to have extra mana. Yeah, I'm going to just do it. And then they just win. But, like, if I find an Atraxa, it's pretty good. Okay, we didn't hit anything. That's fine. I didn't expect us to win. We're like totally shields down here. They can just show and tell Emrakul here, or if they have sneak attack, they can sneak attack Emrakul and kill us. Okay. Do they have the Emrakul still? Oh, they have the Atraxa. Okay. I see a Force. I see an Emrakul. I don't see sneak attack. Archon of Cruelty's in their deck. That's cool. Like, I would definitely like to rip that. So I do get another shot next turn at, like, helming for a ton. All right, let's do it. Black. Sacrifice a swamp. Boom. All right, and let's helm you for 6 and just see if we can find an Emrakul. Oh, yeah, Atraxa, baby. Hell yeah. Oh, my goodness. So we'll take the Leyline, the Helm, the Swamp, and I've never resolved one of these before, actually. This is my first ever Atraxa. And I'm actually very proud of that because I'm not a combo gamer. So we have the Swamp for next turn, so yeah, it's not bad. We'll take that. I think we're probably still dead. Oh, wait, I can Thoughtseize them. Seems good. Yeah, we're going to need 2 Swamps to get through all this. They might force here. Sure. All right, I'll just pass. But I've got a pretty good blocker. And I'll just trade with that, probably. I think they have another one in hand. Let me trade. So now that we've got a game, we actually got a game here. I think this is just, we put the other Helm in play. We put the Leyline in play. I don't know. I'm just going to take a minute, since we have plenty of clock, figure out what's in their hand. So they chose Force, Show and Tell, City of Traders, Archon of Cruelty. They're going to put Archon in. I feel confident about that. So they pitched Force to Force. I think they still have the Emrakul in play. They may put the Emrakul in. I think they've used the pedal. Wait, did they kept Archon? Yeah, so this is maybe Archon or Atraxa. Or Emrakul, rather. They have Brazen Borrower. Oh, they have Brazen Borrower. No, wait, they didn't. They didn't keep that. Okay, I think their hand is something like this. But they may have used the Brainstorms. Yeah, I'll just assume that they don't have cantrips left. If they use the Thundering Falls. I'm not sure exactly what's in there, but I think they're putting Archon in. Okay, that resolves. I'm just going to put the Leyline in. Because they can't, like, it's harder to blow up. Okay, they have Sneak Attack. Now they're going to Emrakul us. And unfortunately, we lose. There's no... Oh, wait. No, I don't have enough permanents. And I'll die to combat damage anyway. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know they had the Sneak Attack. I didn't see that in the things that showed up there, so they must have drawn it. Or had it in hand. Wait. That was in their original 7. That was in their original 7. I had plenty of opportunities to get rid of that. Okay, so to be clear, like my strategy did not work out. My strategy of taking their cantrips and leaving them with the enablers and hoping that I could turbo them. And the reason it didn't work out was because they had that Pyroclasm. So any changes... I still think Disruptor Flute is good because it's really good against Sneak Attack. Like they put Sneak Attack on the stack and then use Disruptor Flute in response. I think I'm going to keep this as is. I could take a Shieldred and be more proactive or more disruptive, but I'm on the play. Yeah, I'm going to do it like this. Okay, let's take a look at this hand. This is a turn 1 double Duress effect. I can put Shieldred under here, and then I have Leyline, Douthie to win. I think double Duressing them will be good enough to wreck their hand and slow them down. They mulligan to 6. Love it. So I'm not trying to win here. I'm trying to rein them in long enough to win, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to slow them down. But there's only so much you can do. They have a high degree of inevitability. Let's go ahead and Thoughtseize first, and then I'll just follow up with the Duras. Yeah, or I won't cast Duras if for some reason everything in their hand is creature. Okay, so here they have sneak attack. They don't have anything. I think I just take both the stock ups, and then they're looking for a monster, and I can Disruptor Flute the sneak attack. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and so we'll just go ahead and do this. I love Chrome Mox in this deck, by the way. I definitely think you should play it. Like, I usually play Lotus Petals because I just don't like going down on cards. But when you're playing a mono black deck like this, Chrome Mox is like so sweet. I wish they would reprint this so it wasn't so expensive. But I guess like the whole Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast MO is keep Moxes expensive. Pick the stock up. And now they do have a path to that card, but they're going to need a force to stop us. Petal. Misty. All right, so next turn they do have sneak attack. I want them to put it on the stack. Gosh, what if they have another petal? What if they go City of Traders and then they play a petal? I want to get on the board. I don't want to just disrupt. Like, I want to Disruptor Flute once sneak attack's out. I'm going to take the risk. They don't have a threat in hand anyway. They're fetching just to get it out of the way. They're going to surveil. We'll pass. So I think this is City of Traders sneak attack, and then they'll probably just... like, unless they drew another petal. It's out. Okay, great. And now, as long as their hand is not force blue card, I think we're totally fine. That's a pretty redundant rip right now. I'm just going to main phase this. Now, we do know that they have a Brazen Borrower in their deck, so we want to keep 2 mana up just in case they are able to borrow. Because what they could do is they could borrow, this bounces to hand, and then they have priority and they could sneak. And we wouldn't be able to get back in. So keeping the mana up doesn't necessarily matter. Okay. They do have red mana. Not this turn necessarily. 16 life over there. Let's find some more creature. Like a Bowmaster would be great. Like of the Dead's not terrible. I'll just go ahead and use it here. Sacrifice that. Now I will go ahead and just play this out. Just as redundancy. And then we'll come across. What do they have in exile? They have a ponder. Yeah, nothing that I want to use. I just need a clock. Right. And now we're just looking to draw the WinCon card or just beat them down before they find a way out of this. I will play that. Now I can Disruptor Flute twice if they bounce it back to my hand. Yeah, Disruptor Flute is a great sideboard card. All right, what do you have over there? You gonna show and tell us? No? Okay. I'm gonna hold this for mystery. There's no real merit to playing it out. I've got tons of mana. I just want them to worry that, like, if I show and tell, are they going to have the Helm? You know, I want them to have that fear because I have to have fear against their deck. You know, it's good to terrorize those who terrorize. All right, let's come across. They're dead next turn if this Bowmaster resolves, and they're dead even sooner if they attempt to brainstorm into it. All right, it looks like we got it. Unless they... Good games. 3-1. Final round, we're up against a Swiss Army Knife player who plays a lot of different formats. Plays a lot of different decks in those formats. This is a turn 1 Douthie. And then we've got Shieldred on deck. But I think I actually want to put the Shieldred under here because I'm just not sure when she's going to get cast. I think I do put Shieldred under and I just turn 1 Douthie them. And then like I can just go Douthie beats. One nice thing is if they are on like Reanimator, which is unlikely but possible, like Shieldred would be a huge beating if they were able to like play it out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just attempt to cast this and see what they do. They might think I'm on like some sort of turn 1 combo deck. Shield goes under, black, Douthie. And of course I could have just Durist, but this feels more powerful. If they just like bolt my Douthie, that'll suck. But yeah, if they don't have a bolt, if they're on like Delver, which they played most recently, then you know, Douthie is extremely disruptive, and we have a Daze Protected Douthie next turn, and we're at least keeping them from getting a land in their yard for the purposes of Delirium here. Island. Okay. They're doing the main phase Brainstorm. Now, I'm not like huge like Bosch and Roll, getting thousands and thousands of views on every video, but like if they have seen on Twitter, like I did tweet about the fact that I got a trophy with Helm, so it's possible that they're gearing up for that sort of interaction, that sort of fight. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Durus them once, and then I'll decide whether I want to cast Douthie because they may have a Daze. Oh wow, they're on some cool deck. I like it. What the heck is this? It looks like blue-black control of some form or another. Well, I don't have to worry about the Bowmaster Shielded Edict is probably the thing that I want to take out here. They could dress down and make my creatures blockable, which is a pain. They could hard cast a Quantum Riddler. That'll be a turn from now. Shielded Edict is very clearly the winner here. Then I'm just going to up the pressure. Yeah, I think we just race them, basically, and just ignore our combo. Basic Swamp. Man, this opponent is like going after my heart. So they dress down here. It's not even that big of a deal. They could empty their hand of durable targets. I think it's better to cast this now and force their play. Because if they dress down, it's possible that all we get is the Dark Ritual. They may also Dark Ritual and then... Okay, interesting. They chose not to do that. Well, their hand hasn't changed much. I think I just ignore the Dark Ritual Quantum Riddler stuff because they're not going to be able to block what I'm doing over here. It's just so sweet. Freaking Doubt the Beatdown. There's nothing you can do. I'll just play Flip Delvers every turn. And they're dead on board, basically, if they fetch. It's just like, I just imagine like something from a different dimension literally phasing through this tree trunk, like coming at you and there's nothing you can do. It's so terrifying. If you ever seen like the movie It Follows, like where it just like kind of stalks you, that is the scariest movie I think I've ever seen. I like watched it by myself in the dark. And that's how you should always watch scary movies. By yourself in total darkness, late at night, after the kids go down. You get a card. I hope it's phenomenal. Okay, they did not play the fetch. they found a non-fetch to play. We were just on the playing them. We were on the play, right? Yeah, and that's making a huge difference here. But like, frankly, the cards we drew lined up perfectly against them. There's the ley line. I think we just attack them to 1. They're going to need like a sweeper. And like the sweeper that is typically played is played in the sideboard. Yeah, they just scooped. That was oppressive. All right, so what is our opponent likely bringing in? They don't know that we're on Helm, but they might surmise that, again, if they're on social media at all. My announcement of winning with Helm, I don't know how many impressions we got. Here, let's take a look. So we got 3.6K impressions, which is not like a ton, but considering how small the active player base on MTGO is, I would not be surprised if they'd seen it. They'd seen this tweet, so they knew that I was on Helm. Oppo is definitely less sexy in light of Bowmaster. I mean, could they be on? They're playing. I think they're probably playing Moonshadow or something with main deck dress downs. I can't think of what else they would be doing. Like my instinct is to just leave the deck as is. Shielded seems pretty bad because they're a Fatal Push deck. Unmasked feels bad. Baragoyf might just be the card we're looking for here because we can cast it and it is a problem they have to deal with. We're like the worst Baragoyf deck I've ever played, but let's assume that like they are able to like somehow stop our graveyard disruption and like Baragoyf might be big enough to like help finish the job. I definitely like him better than Shielded because if you're going to push something, like get your 3-drop push, not your 4-drop, right? No reason to expect them being on Esper because they're playing Shielded Edict. If they were on Esper, they would almost certainly have Plows and Prismatic Endings. Yeah, again, I don't like Oppo just because it you never really get good attacks because it's a 2 toughness. They should have made it a 3/3. I bet you if it was printed in 2026, it would be a 3/3. This is the combo. I mean, this is a great hand. Bowmasters is just randomly insane against their deck too. You can cast those. You can warp those Riddlers all you want into my Bowmaster here. So I'm definitely gonna Mox here. I don't think they're playing Daze because their curve is high. So I think we can. Okay, they're thought seizing us. They are probably going to take Bowmasters here, but they might take Profane Tutor because it represents us just winning. It's a few turns away. I would be so happy if they took Profane Tutor here. I love the art on Profane Tutor. They took the Bowmasters. I think they're a smart player. Like I said, like they play all types of different archetypes, which is not a slight against people that just main one same deck. But yeah, I think it may make sense to just Douthy. This is a good turn to go ahead and Profane Tutor because we have Lake of the Dead, so we have a win on the table. They could borrow this out of play. Okay, it's in. I'm just going to put a Douthy under there and diversify. And again, they can't Daze this. They can counter it later when it resolves. I need a Swamp in order to have enough mana to kill them. I have 2 turns to draw a Swamp. Next turn, I can just play out a Douthy into a potential Daze. I love the art on this. Just, you can just imagine like some lake where like all these poor people have been drowned and they're like chained to the ground and stuff. And like, you know, like you're calling upon that dark, evil energy. Okay. That's fine. Actually, that doesn't change the fact that we're about to win. You're going to need a force here. One of the great things about Profane Tutor is it doesn't put it in your hand immediately. It puts it in at the beginning of your upkeep. So like whatever it is you're getting is, I mean, I want a lake. I guess it doesn't change our total mana output to lake. I just don't have anything to do with it. If I draw a swamp, then that's very good. They may have a wasteland. I think it's correct to wait. Because this still taps for black, but then if they waste it, then I suddenly don't have enough mana to kill them. And I can always play this, tap it, and then I can have 5 mana to kill them. Time is fine. All right, so now I'm gonna go for it. No Glutz, no Glory. We are a combo deck. We're gonna make them have the force. They have the days. They can stop me from killing them immediately, but they can't stop me from killing them. They have the Brazen Borrower. They can completely stop me. Brazen Borrower blows me out completely. Let's cast this. All right, it resolves. Helm of Obedience. We draw a card. Swamp. Thoughtseize would be insane. Okay, a second Helm. I'm not going to complain about that. Lake of the Dead. Sack that. I'm going to go ahead and Dark Ritual. Helm. Force. Okay, so we'll have to try again next turn, but that is contingent on them not finding a Wasteland and us drawing a Swamp. Okay, but they're Hellbent. They have Tamio, so they're favored from here, but we have the combo in hand. We just need the mana. Like literally any swamp and we're partying. But they do get 2 draws, and those draws could be like Wasteland, Spell Pierce, or something like that that could stop us. Thoughtseize would also be good. But they don't have the ability to regrow with Tamio, so even if they flip her, it's actually not that scary. It's basically just them trying to turbo their way to drawing half their deck. Okay, they do have the Wasteland, so that's pretty brutal. And I could have just held, but I thought that days might be in their range. Okay, Ponder. So they're going to flip her, and now we have to race to Tamio. But they're not going to get any more clues. Pretty good series of draws, if I may say so myself. Yeah, that's unfortunate draw. We're going to need to do back-to-back swamps here. Okay, Ponder. So they can just, you know, if they get a force, then they're basically locked up. Or if they find a borrower, then the game's over. I think that is that deterministically we're just dead? I think we have one more turn. Like even a Mox would not be that bad at this point. But like this, if this would enter, I don't think you get to tap it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you get to tap it. We'll see here in a second if we have to make that play. I am just going to concede. Like I don't think they're gonna whiff when they draw 21 cards. They'll find a force or a Thoughtseize. Okay, final round. We're on the play again. I think we keep it exactly as it is. No, I don't want the Bargoyfs. I'm just going to turbo them. I think Oppo is actually maybe better. It's any good against them. I haven't brought this in at all, but I was this is for like the dirtily aggro decks. But you know, we may not need a sweeper because we have a combo in our deck. But I thought this card was really sweet. I heard it got banned in standard. I was like, okay, what's the fuss about? I mean, it seems cool when you have a ton of black mana. I think Unmask, if we're trying to turbo them, Unmask is how we do it. We're not going to win like a protracted game. What's going to happen is what happened there. I really wish I had Ill-Gotten Gains in my deck for this exact matchup because it's just another thing that we can do that basically wins the game. I think maybe Oppo is good because I could have like a Dark Ritual Oppo and like when they fetch and then I just like lock them out of the game. Maybe that's cute, but I think that's better than Shielded. I'm just not sold on Shielded. She was good in that one game we played her. We didn't win that game ultimately. This is a Leyline and Thoughtseize hand. I'm going to keep this. And we've got lots of mana. So they're not going to be able to disrupt our mana with their Thoughtseizes. We will get to 4 mana sooner or later. And we have Douthie, which is our win con, which is also just redundant. And they can't just borrow. Like they have to borrow 2 things out of play. And I doubt they're playing any sort of enchantment removal in blue-black. So Thoughtseize is a great way to start the game because we can just take whatever the disruption is. And then, like if they have a removal spell, that's a great thing to take with Thoughtseize because then we have Douthie for the next turn. I do think that's safer than putting the Thoughtseize on her and just immediately Douthing. I think that'd be a mistake. Like this Chrome Box probably won't actually do anything. That is a hell of a hand, friend. That is a hell of a hand. Holy cow, that is a nutty hand. Okay, let's think about this. So, like, obviously it's nutty because they only have one land. So we're not going to be able to... the card we want to take here is Shielder's Edict. They can force Douthie. Like, I probably have to play it out slow because I don't want to play in a daze. I don't think we're going to magically find the combo. I could just take the force, but it feels wrong to take the force because they'll have to get down on cards to get Quantum Riddler online. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Shielder's Edict. They didn't have a cantrip, right? No, they do have a Brainstorm, but Brainstorm's not reliable for finding a second land. So it's possible they Brainstorm lock themselves here. Strand. Okay. And they're opting not... Because they have the daze, they have that comfort blanket. But if I draw a Bowmasters, I might just... Oh, that's not bad. We can play this around daze again. Let's go ahead and do this. And they'll probably Brainstorm just to make sure they can use it because they are not necessarily going to find a land here. I will take the Brainstorm if they just leave it in hand. Kaito is a nice addition to the hand. But again, it doesn't address the fundamental problem that they don't have land. All right. And now we've removed the Brainstorm from the equation. They can fetch, but that won't necessarily get them where they need to go. I'm pretty sure they will force our... Yes, so they're going to go ahead and surveil here, risking that we have Wasteland. Spoiler, we don't. We're not playing Wasteland in our deck because I just want to maximize the likelihood of being able to use Lake of the Dead. A lot of the lists I've seen do play Wasteland. Okay, they did find a land, but it's a Wasteland. So they have Orcish Bowmaster, Hardcast Days up. They have Force for our Douthie, which they might do. I have Bowmaster for their Bowmaster. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And I think they're going to Force. And that gets them closer to Riddler. Because, like, actually, you kind of want to be Hellbent for Riddler. I want them to aim their fire at this so they don't go after Bowmasters. That's the real thing that is important to resolve. Because if they Bowmaster, like, I can Bowmaster their Bowmaster, and then they're low on material, and then they also can't do a lot of stuff. Okay, so we just have to hope that they don't find removal here. This is a very slow clock. They think they Bowmaster in the instep. They are kind of racing us a little bit, but it's not going to be much of a race once we have our Bowmaster out, assuming we resolve it, but I don't think we will. If they find a land, they have Kaito, which is incredible, but that means they drew 3 lands in a row. That's so lucky. All right, well, they will probably be able to find a land here. Yeah, they did find a land. All right, I think we're going to lose, unfortunately, because I took the Brainstorm hoping to slow them down, but it didn't slow them down at all. They drew 2 lands, and like they made every single land drop at this point, which is really good. They didn't attack with these. Interesting. Okay, Profane Tutor. They can't counter the Profane Tutor. They have Kaito next turn, though. Kaito will stun this. I think we are supposed to hold up the Brainstorm here, or the Bowmaster. Gosh, so it may not seem like our situation is that hopeless, but believe me, our situation is extremely hopeless. First of all, this Dead Daze does nothing. They pitch it to Force. Then they're low enough that when Kaito comes in, they can just riddle the subsequent turn. So I think we're actually extremely screwed here. Profane Tutor could go get the other Must Force card. Okay, so here's my line. I let them Kaito and do all the disgusting things they're going to do. What do they have in their exile here? Nothing. Because it all gets exiled to Leyland of the Void. So I am going to attack. And then I'm going to suspend Profane Tutor. But once I suspend, then I have Bowmasters. And if they counter the Bowmasters, then I have... But, they're almost certainly going to find some more interaction between now and then. But I need to try it. I can't wait on the Profane Tutor. So do they have another Surveil? What are they doing here? Okay, just fetching in the instep. That's fine. And again, I would emphasize, to a casual observer, it may not seem like we're completely screwed. But to me, who plays a lot of decks like this, I would be very confident in this position if I had these cards in my hand. They should actually Kaito and bring the Bowmaster back to hand, protecting it from our potential Bowmaster, and then giving them an opportunity to further grow their Orc army. That's the play I would make. And unfortunately, the build they're playing doesn't have Merc, as far as I can tell, or anything like that. Let's see whether they bring the Orc army back. They have a Dark Ritual. Interesting. So they're going to Kaito. Wait, why Dark Ritual? Okay. They're going to try to find a land and also recast it this turn cycle. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. Never mind. That was a good play. Yeah, it is interesting. They're playing like it makes me wonder if they're playing Doomsday in there as well, because like it just seems like such a counterintuitive like Dark Ritual in your value deck. I can't imagine what they're doing is correct or optimal, but that doesn't mean they're not going to win. I want to be clear. If I'm critiquing my opponent, that doesn't mean that I think they're like, I think they could be doing things better than they're doing, but yeah, this is not a good matchup for us. Okay, so Unmask could go, I mean, if we unmask straight up, they're just going to, wait, the Daze is still in their hand, so they can just straight up counter the Daze. Let's think about this. Like, there might be some world in which we unmask, take, maybe they force the unmask, but then they're still going to have blue cards in their hand for the, and they'll still be able to Daze us. If I let them untap, then that gives them the possibility of Hardcast Force. So I think I'm supposed to go ahead and cast this right now. It sucks, but yeah, I'm going to do it, and then they're going to force it. Or if they have another Bowmaster, yeah, okay, they forced it. And they pitched Quantum Riddler? Okay. That's not what I would have expected. But they've got so much pressure that we're dead really quickly. Maybe they're just like, oh, this game's almost over. But I do, if they've forgotten, I do have the ability to search. So their hand is Daze and One Unknown, but they're about to draw another card off Kaito. So we take a lot here. We drop a lot. Luckily, we don't use our life total as a resource at all in this deck. Like, there's not a single card in our deck other than Thoughtseize, I guess. So technically we do use. They're surveilling. So what we need to do is we need to find Lake of the Dead. And the problem is this happens during our upkeep before we've drawn, so we don't know what we're going to draw. Lake of the Dead or Dark Ritual could do it. Let's see, Dark Ritual. Yeah, because we could put Chrome Mox, Unmask, and then Dark Ritual, and then we can pay for Daze. They may put the Daze away. I can't imagine them doing that, but it's not unheard of. They're probably just trying to find like a Thoughtseize type effect, which is totally fine, actually. Because we're going to get two cards, and one of them might be a black card that would enable us to play it. No, we need one more mana to activate. So Thoughtseize would probably kill us here. Yeah, I think we lose now. Like, the only draw sequence that makes sense would be us finding Lake of the Dead, exactly. Which is 3 cards, and it'll be 48 when we draw. So I am going to go get the thing. Let's just think for a second. Is there anything else that would make sense here? Like a Bowmaster would not keep us alive here. It'd take out their Bowmaster and create Chumper. I think we have to swing for the fences here. All right, is it Lake of the Dead? So close to being good enough. Let's see if they have the Daze. Like, they have nothing to fear. They know our hand, but they probably still have the Daze in hand. Like, the cautious thing to do would just be to go ahead and Daze this. Yeah, good games. Well played. Again, this is the kind of deck that just pulls our deck apart, so I'm not surprised we lost this. Even if, like, I'm critiquing my opponent's decision-making and their deck construction, it doesn't mean that I'm saying it's a favorable matchup. So, there's a 3-2. Not bad. Losing to Karnforge. Let's talk about some changes that I think need to be made to the deck. First of all, Shieldred was good, but she's just so much mana, and she just gets fatal pushed. I'm not a believer. I like Turok a lot. He didn't come in, but he's really good against those white decks, like the Ocelot Pride decks. The fact that he's disruptive and pro-white, and he's just extremely hard to remove, and he's hard to block, I think is good. Meathook Massacre might just be a one-of. It is technically a legendary enchantment, so there's diminishing returns to drawing the second one. I don't know that Disruptor Flute is a 3-of. It was probably a 3-of, but I don't think it's a 4-of. Unmasked does not belong in the main deck for sure. We're not I just can't play Turbo without a nice backup plan contingency. And then I think these Oppos belong in the deck. It's a very good disruptive creature that can also clock against a creatureless deck. It's not good against a deck with creatures because it'll just be blocked. But it's good enough against enough of the meta that I think it's worth playing. That gives us some sideboard slots. Baragoyf was pretty unimpressive, frankly, but I didn't board him in a lot of matchups. But like I think in the previous league, there were situations where my Baragoyf was like a 1-2, and that's not where you want to be for your 3-drop. Some people have said, "Oh, play Rotting Registrar." That feels extremely all into me. Like, it doesn't have any evasion or anything. It's not my kind of card. There's no ETB in your, discarding your card every turn cycle. I don't know that I can get behind it. Disruptor Flu was good. It's just the 2-drop slot is really crowded here. So I'm not sure exactly what to do. Like, I did like the Leica that had a lot more than the Ancient Tombs. What I found with Ancient Tomb was, first of all, like, it's only good for casting the One Ring, which screw the One Ring. I don't really like playing with that card. I understand that it might be like more optimal. It's not my kind of card. I wish there were good disruptive creatures in the 2-drop slot, like Douthie, Orcish Bowmaster. 1-drop disruptive creatures. Let's think about that. So obviously we've got Cecil, which, you know, can potentially flip. I don't think Cecil's good enough. We've got cards like Moonshadow that you would have to completely rejigger the deck to get it to work. Like, you'd have to put in a bunch of fetch lands, and I love the simplicity of just swamps. And we can just take so much damage. It takes forever for our opponents to kill us. We don't do any damage to ourselves other than the Thoughtseize. Durus felt great. I think the mana amount is just right, frankly. Like 20 lands, 4 Chrome Mox, 4 Dark Writs. And then if you think about it, like, Ill-Gotten Gains is often going to be getting back Dark Writs and Duresses and Thoughtseizes and stuff. So, like, Ill-Gotten Gains seems really strong. Maybe we want 3 of them. You know, like, I just feel like Oppo is a sideboard card because it's not good enough against the big mana decks, in my humble opinion. Like, oh, wow, you stop like an Urza Saga, you go get your own free, you know, random skateboard or whatever. Who cares? You know, like some artifact is not even that useful to you. We're not playing any sort of like mana suppression. I don't feel it's a main deck card. It's good against Doomsday. Let's think about, like, we have to fundamentally think about what this deck is weak to. Like, first of all, I think I'd rather play a 3rd Ill-Gotten Gains. It was really good when it was good. You know, we had the mana. Like, maybe we should just play 4. I mean, it does. There were lots of situations where we had a Douthie or a Leyline, and we were just waiting for something good. Ill-Gotten Gains is mind twist your opponent, draw 3 cards, essentially. That's pretty freaking good. Right? So I think I'm going to try again with the 4 Ill-Gotten Gains. And then it's just a question of like what the sideboard looks like. But I mean, I can see Shieldred for the sideboard actually. Because let's say they're like on some combo deck. Like, Shieldred's not terrible. She's slow. May might be worth it. Because she does like lots of damage to them. She comes out early too. And against like a fast combo deck, like Storm type decks, it's pretty good. I mean, she's a 2/2 with first strike. I mean, she can beat most of the cards. A lot of these decks, a lot of the fair decks. Some people, like one person was playing Dark Confidant, but I think the curve is just way too high. You're going to do way too much damage to yourself. It is a nice 2-drop. Another card that I think we might consider playing, Contagion. This card has sick art, and it's basically like it's in the same cycle as Force of Will. It's actually an Alliances card. Ironically, we're playing Alliances. Like, how crazy would that be for us to have 3 freaking Alliances cards in our Legacy deck in 2026, right? The fundamental thing is I just don't believe in Baragorth. Like, we're already crushing Delver so hard, and it's just not going to be big enough. You know what? Screw it. I'm putting the freaking I'm putting the Obliterator in here. Am I? So this is Obliterator. Let's think about this. Whenever a source deals damage to this creature, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents of their choice. Like, so it's like, okay, I'll block your Obliterator with my Grizzly Bear. Okay, first you have to sacrifice 2 permanents, you know, and it's trample. So it does have evasion. 4 mana is doable. One of the things that really bothers me about Atraxa is she's legendary, so she gets bounced with Karakas and stuff, and it's kind of annoying. And also, if you draw more than 1, so you can only really play 1. And we were playing 2 there, but I don't think it was correct to play 2. What is this good against? Obviously, like any sort of like with non-black, non-white deck, but like what percentage of the meta is non-black, non-white, right? Like they're gonna plow or they're gonna push. So the other card is Demigod of Revenge. This card is just insane. Because if they counter the first one, then you draw a second one. Now they're looking at trying to kill this. It's not insane put in off of Show and Tell though. I mean, it is a flying attacker. The main thing I like about this is it dodges probably the most played removal spell in Legacy right now, which is Fatal Push. Like, there's just no way you can push a Demigod. But Yeah, we're not going to be playing Tombstalker. I'm trying to think of like good cards that dodge that dodge Fatal Push that are still like legacy playable. The problem is we can't play Tombstalker because we don't have fetches. If we put a bunch of fetches in our deck, Tombstalker might be okay, but it's pretty mediocre. The fact that this has haste too is really nice. And it's just like a spicy card. Like, it's fun, you know? And I like my cards that come out and like do something immediately. I don't like cards like Bowmaster's immediately pings. Douthie immediately shuts down graveyard. Like any creature that draws a card, it is immediately drawing a card, right? You're not having to wait forever. I was thinking about playing, mono black curses with Helm, mashing that up. But the problem with that is the curses like happens during your upkeep. So like you get into play and like, okay, I'm going to give you an entire turn cycle, and now I'm going to go find a curse for you. And now we're going to wait till your upkeep, and then that curse is going to trigger. Like it's really slow is what I'm saying. So leave a comment with a timestamp, but I am going to fire into another league. I don't want you to think that like, oh, okay, well, he just completely ignored my comment. Like there will probably be another Helm deck recorded by the time that you are watching this one. So don't be surprised if like I have tried and abandoned Demigod of Revenge, for example, by the time the next league comes out. If there were just some 3-drop that was really good, but like I've really scoured Modern. I even looked at freaking EDH and like just see what they're playing in their desperation to fill a 100-card deck with good cards, and I just couldn't. Nothing stood out. So let's think about Demigod of Revenge. So we have like the Dark Ritual into Demigod line. I mean, technically, Ill-Gotten Gains, we could discard it, but we're already winning if we resolve Ill-Gotten Gains, right? But like we could discard one and then put one back in our hand and then boom, double Demigod, I mean, that'd be insane. That'd be very flashy, but is that good? All right, so let's just look at some cards that are options. Archfiend of Dross. This is a 6/6 flying for 4 mana. It has the side effect that if you remove an oil counter at the beginning of your upkeep and you lose the game, but who cares? But it's just a 6/6 flyer with no abilities other than flying. I don't think it's correct. Then you start getting into like the ridiculously high curve stuff. And by the way, this is like an EDH site. So if you don't recognize any of these cards, don't worry. I don't either. One thing I thought about is playing the initiative creature. The best black initiative creature is pretty mediocre though. But he is a 4-drop. And that is like a big deal. Like the fact that he does something and he's a 4-drop against like a lands deck or something, that would be a pretty good strategy. But like, are we even going to lose against lands? I don't think we are. All right, so here are the black initiative. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control with a corpse counter on it. So this would be good if like if that creature would leave exile it instead and it has escape. I don't think this is good enough. This is like a fun card that James Casal plays. That's why I'm calling it out. But our options, should we actually want like a creature that does something? This is a 5-drop, but it does have menace, which is nice. But I don't think we want to pay 5 mana for an initiative creature. Ravenloft Adventurer. If an opponent creature would die, instead exile it and put a hit counter on it. They can choose whether to exile this. I think this lifelink guy might be the best one because he actually grows. I mean, he starts out as a 2/2, which is boltable. This is not boltable. They lose 1 life for each card they own in exile with a hit counter. Okay, so again, you're never going to get hit counters on it. The only asset that this Ravenloft creature really brings in our deck is the 3/4 toughness as opposed to the initial 2/2 toughness. This has lifelink, which is much better. This card sucks. Vicious Battle Rager. Whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's control loses 5 life. Like, okay, who cares? It's a 1/5. You know what I'm saying? It's not applying any pressure. Passageway Seer actually does. So that's my instinct, is probably instead of doing something really cute, like Obligator or Obliterator or something like that, I think we probably just put Passageway Seer in the deck. We can probably hold the initiative because Douthie helps hold the initiative. I feel like this is probably better than Baragoyf in this deck. Again, because Baragoyf's just never going to be any big. So I think we play maybe 3 Disruptor Flutes and then 3 Passageway Seers. Or we could potentially go down to 2 Oppos and play all 4. I mean, taking the initiative is like legit path to victory here. Even if they fight over the initiative, they're losing life. We're gaining life off of this. And it's distracting them. I think I'm going to try that. And also, like, opposition agent with, like, we can basically take we can prevent them from getting the positive, like, trigger if we have opposition agent in. So let's think about what that juke would look like if we want to go the creature heavy juke. Okay, we're up against some sort of slower strategy, like lands, like Karnforge or something like that. We resolve a Pathway Seer. This is also a path to victory, even if they have, like, Karn out or something like that. Which I like. They're not going to ensnaring bridge. They can ensnaring bridge that, but it doesn't matter. We still are going to dome them and get card advantage. And we do have a density of creatures to where we're likely to hit on, like with 12 creatures in the deck, we are likely to hit on Throne of the Dead 3, the final room of the initiative. I think I'll try this. I do want to see Contagion in action. I like this card thematically. Like the ability to like kill 2 of their creatures seems really nice. And the fact that it's free. Maybe this is a little cute, though, because we're already doing a lot of damage to our hand. Yeah, I'm going to try this. So in the next league, I'll just play this exact version. And I'll see you there. If you're not already subscribed to the Be Excellent channel, feel free to subscribe. I'm not going to pressure you. But the main thing is tell your friends that there's this guy who makes lots of videos that are like no reserve list or cheap. This is not no reserve list because Helm of Obedience is unfortunately on the reserve list. So is Lake of the Dead. But you could like put Ancient Tombs. Actually, Lake of the Dead's basically as cheap as Ancient Tomb, even though Ancient Tomb has been reprinted a ton of times and Lake of the Dead hasn't. This is just an extremely niche card. But I only expect the value of reserve list cards to go up. So I do encourage you to, if you're interested in the deck, go ahead and buy this before Rudy of Alpha Investments decides to speculate it or some other douchebaggery occurs. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.